Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us on Joy Asony Live this beautiful evening. Well, we are moving the conversation on today's edition. As you may already know, today is the Buy Naija hour here on Joy Asony Live. Every Friday we have that, where we talk about the SMEs and how they can stay abreast with trending economic realities and what they should do, how government should help out, and above all, how can Nigerian producers and manufacturers, those in the smallest level, how can they rise up and stay above everything? That's what we discuss here every Friday. And today we'll be moving the conversation to discuss the fuel subsidy removal and the infrastructure challenges in Nigeria, and how can the MSMEs, that's the micro, small and medium enterprises in Nigeria, help? How can they survive in these economic realities? Well, as you already know, for those who follow the program, Apostle William Iheanacho Oatbil, Chairman Buy Naija Project, is our guest, and as you already know, he will do justice to this subject matter. Apostle, thank you so much for being part of the program.
Yeah, good evening, and viewers at home, good evening, and it's always a privilege to speak and to be part of the conversation, especially in this day of fuel scarcity and challenges for the micro, small and medium enterprise.
Okay. At this point, we'll just go for a short break and return to discuss more. Stay with us. This is still Joy Asony Live. Welcome back from that short break. Now, despite the widespread outcry trailing the removal of fuel subsidy in Nigeria, there is no sign that President Bola Tinubu will reverse the policy, as the federal government did not provide cash backing for the budgetary allocation of 6 trillion naira and 3.7 trillion naira made for fuel subsidy in 2022 and the first half of 2023 respectively. In all of this, how can the micro, small and medium enterprises survive with the economic realities? That's the question I'll quickly ask Apostle Williams Iheanacho Oatbil, Chairman Buy Naija Project, who is with us today. And my first question would be, how are you surviving the fuel subsidy removal?
In the first place, there is no hiding place for everybody, because the owners of every enterprise is highly impacted. But micro, small, medium and large enterprises are all affected.
Okay.
If you are not an employee, you are an employer. If you are not an employer, you are an employee. Even if you are job hunting, you need to take transport.
Exactly.
And the last how many hours have been very, very excruciating for the ordinary Nigerian. But why we want to concentrate on the micro, small and medium enterprises is because the micro and small specifically are the people who are the most highly impacted. And once they are impacted, the whole society suffers. Like I said earlier on this program, when there was purchase of cash, it was the micro and small entrepreneurs that suffered. Yes. Now, if there's a 300% increase in the in fuel prices, then you know that the ripple effect on other services other than transport will be humongous. Some of the time is more than 300% in the effect. Now, take for instance, many micro and small enterprises people, they have to run their own power. they run generators.
Yes.
Because of the erratic power infrastructure that we have. Not to talk of the people operating from the rural areas. So what amount of fuel and what quantity of money do you pump in to power your operations in the poultry, in animal husbandry, in garments, in footwear and leather products, in agro-allied matters, those who have to chill products, those who have to blend, those who have to process. So I cannot, even today as I sit here, begin to calculate the multiplier effect it will have on the larger society. But from what I know, that people have been struggling, entrepreneurs have been struggling with infrastructure problems, especially power. And we've tried to come up with some solutions in Buy Naija. The major solution we've been crying and screaming for is shared facility micro and small enterprise clusters. So that people will share their power. You enter a little cluster somewhere and you discover that there are more than 500 generators. So there's noise pollution, and all of them have to source their own fuel. But if you have a shared facility, as we've been advocating since, to be powered by government, faith-based initiative, we've been talking about them.
Of course we have.
NGOs to come together. One generator can power all the shops and all the producers or commercial people in a cluster. But since that one has not evolved, the effect is going to be terrible on price levels across board.
On price levels.
Yes.
But who takes the brunt of this? Very often we hear that the best business to be part of, the best thing to do is be an entrepreneur, because whatever happens, all the shocks that happen, the entrepreneur absorbs it and gives it back to the end users, basically. In this case, end users, because I mean, when you say micro and small, very often it's the end users. So wouldn't you say that at this point it's survival of the fittest? We would see the strength of these entrepreneurs and their innovative, how innovative they can get in these trying times.
You know, the Nigerian entrepreneur is very resilient. They have the capacity to absorb shocks. And that is why they take us for granted.
They take us. I'm not sure who they are. And
I'm an end user.
Right.
You are an end user.
Okay.
Even the man who is making shoes.
He's an end user.
He's an end user of chicken,
exactly.
of bakery. So all of us are end users. All of us are end users.
You cannot provide your entire value chain.
No, you cannot. You cannot. It's impossible.
Of course.
I don't make gari, but I eat gari. I don't have a bakery, but I eat bread. Even the man who is baking bread doesn't make the wheat flour he uses. Somebody else makes it. If you check the value chain, somebody else plants rice, then there are people who mill the rice. Then we are all end users. So what is there is that the innovation that can come is not to begin to try to reinvent the wheel. Entrepreneurs have to be grouped to survive this onslaught. This is going to be a terrible warfare.
We'll get to how the government can provide some sort of cushion. But as you were saying, and I want us to get to that point.
You know what I've always tried to say? If government was to do things the way you are expecting government to do, we will not wake up in the morning buying fuel of 200 naira per liter, suddenly you are buying it for 600.
I wasn't buying at 200 even. I was buying at 195.
That's 200.
There was a 5 naira difference.
Good, no problem. So I just rounded it up to the nearest 100 naira, which is 200. Okay, 195, some place 198. But what I'm saying now is this: you wake up, suddenly 600. Some people say they bought for 750. So I do not see how an average entrepreneur, a micro enterprise person, will buy fuel for 750 naira and not triple its price. But now when you now check out the law of demand and supply, many people will make losses. Some people have the capacity to access money.
The capacity?
Yes.
Apostle, one of these days you tell us how people can have this capacity. Well, and me of all people, I want to get to that point where I have the capacity to access money. Is it a divine
no.
given to
a lot of people have access to free money.
To free money?
I didn't say anybody steals. I just said free money.
Right.
Some people have access to easy money. Some people have access to monies they can use in cushioning the effect of price swings. But for the average entrepreneur who has to go and borrow money, source money with pains, I don't know where they will get money to buy fuel. Because there's nothing you want to do in Nigeria. Even the vulcanizer buys fuel. Your mechanic buys fuel. I'm going down to the lowest level. The woman who makes akara grinds the beans with a machine that uses fuel. So it runs in the whole system. And even if we say, okay, how can we bridge the gap with solar? The price of solar solutions will begin to
skyrocket.
But
would that drive this innovation? Because in economics, these are situations that usually drive innovation, such as maybe getting us cheaper solar panels. I mean, Nigerians, we are very good.
No, but the point is that, what about the transition time?
You think it's too short?
To transit from using fossil fuel, because the price is high, to use solar. There must be a transition time. And how can they source the capital?
I'm not talking in large scale. I'm talking about those manufacturers, those young people with talent who can take advantage of this.
Where will they get the money as capital to do new solar panels and be innovative on them? Which time? How do you transit?
What's the pressure for time? I still do not
understand.
There
is a pressure because they need to power their systems. Okay, let's even take a medium enterprise that runs a poultry.
Right.
The price of power triples. How do you adjust to that tripled price and begin to look for alternatives? Of course, the alternative, the price pressure will be upon them that will be rising. First of all, they will increase their poultry product, if it's a poultry. The person doing feed has to run the machine that does the feed. The price of feed goes up. Workers will now ask for allowance.
Especially now that they need the transportation.
That's right. And the public transport is not effective or efficient.
Have you started seeing the mass transit buses? I saw El-Rufai today, the El-Rufai buses, the ones we call El-Rufai, the mass city, intercity transit buses. I saw about two really around the town, and I was excited. Is that one of the kind of cushioning methods you would advise?
They have always existed. If you go to somewhere in Kubwa Express Road, you'll find a graveyard of buses.
I'm seeing them out now. Is that something we should celebrate?
I cannot It's good to increase the number of mass transit transportation system. If we had an effective rail transport system, which should have been in place, you get it now. People can move goods, services, and humans on this mass transit system. It would have been okay, but how do you ramp up to meet the demand? Even in Lagos, people are trekking. There are pictures all over the place. People are trekking because the man who has even the mass transit, where would they get the fuel for free?
No, they are not to get the fuel for free, but it will definitely be cheaper.
It will be cheaper, but the effect it will have, the kind of mass movement in the micro and small enterprise cluster areas, it's massive. So, okay, let me take, for instance, Sangota.
Okay, in Lagos.
In Lagos, we are talking about Sango Ota just as one location. You talk about Agege Mushi. You have all the market centers. If you know the mass of people who move, if you stay on Oshodi and look at Lagos, you will be scared. If you go to Maraba by 6:37, by this time, there's a crisis. If you go to Yanya, then you go to Airport Road. Now, how do you move the mass of the people who live in the ghettos? I call it Soweto effect. Abuja is designed to be
Soweto effect.
Yeah, people live out of the city. Have you ever looked for a mechanic on a Sunday? No, it's a Soweto effect. They go back to the ghettos. That's the way Abuja is designed. Lagos is even better. You can get vulcanizer, you can get panel beater, you can get the service people. The shortest at short distance in Lagos, in Kano. But Abuja is designed so that it is not service providers friendly. So many of them might not be able to arrive at the place where they render services. I've had to wait for some service providers, artisans, till 9-10 o'clock many times. You know why? Some of them live in Suleja. Many of the ordinary taxi people, not Bolt and Oba, they live in Suleja. They sleep in their cars in Abuja.
Wow, just to meet up?
Yes, they can't pay the rent in Abuja. They can't pay, so their families in Suleja. They come to work here, they hang around, weekend they go. Now that fuel is becoming very expensive, so how does such a man provide taxi services? Somebody wanted to take one of these helicabs to a place where she used to take 1518 before. I had to cover like 3,000.
That's 100%.
Huh?
That's 100% of
and it's demand
increment
that even brought it down, because people can, if he exceeds so, people will decline. They might cancel it, say I'm not going. You get it now. As time goes on, prices will begin to rise and begin to eat into people's income, eat into their savings, eat into their strategic reserve. And their credit has dried up everywhere. Nobody's giving you any money anywhere. If government cannot afford to make provision for subsidy they've been making, I don't know. Where will the entrepreneur get money to buy the fuel you are saying he should buy at that price? Some people are telling me the price in of fuel in this place is about $600, 600 naira. Those people have mass transit. They have effective mass transit. I don't have to take my car to work. coming here, I'm not supposed to drive my vehicle. I was just supposed to take a train.
Exactly. That
and stroll into this place. When I finish, I catch the 7:30 train back to my house. I don't have to. Do you understand now? So what is there is that everybody must brace up. When I go back to NGOs, faith-based initiatives, you will laugh at me.
I will laugh.
Hey, because they are the mass of people that can provide things. If you could provide a bus to convey your church members to come for service, why can't there be those bus services to a shared facility industrial park near? There's land. All of them have plenty land. Everybody has land.
Okay.
Muslims have, Christians have, everybody has. They have plenty land. I do.
I don't have evidence to that. So when you look at me for assurances, you look at me to validate.
No, I will not call government. It will be too far. If the same government is the one you said they remove fuel subsidy, removed it. So where would they get the money to bring you the succor? So I like to look at other organizations who can help practically. That's why I keep on talking about the faith-based
organization.
Oh yes, they can. These people can gather and provide 10 billion now.
Really?
Yes.
You've been counting their monies, I see. But let's go back to these shared facility clusters that you mentioned. I don't see the government thinking this way. In fact, this seems to be a new concept for me. I don't know if my viewers out there have heard about it. Is it something the Buy Naija project would champion?
We are championing to the extent of talking. We don't have the money. The money is in the wrong location.
The wrong location. When you said shared facility yes. clusters, now, okay, maybe you should explain it first so that I don't
when we have speculate. Such clusters for different,
I need you to start from what clusters. So I manufacture shoe. No, I manufacture shoe. Yeah. There's a young lady that manufactures maybe, I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, dresses. I tell you.
Right.
Yeah. The cluster system, those who manufacture dresses, they can have a cluster where they will share facilities. Everybody doesn't need to have the expensive machines.
Right.
You are getting it now.
Okay.
So some people who can afford the machine, you come there and do something with that machine and pay small money
without having to buy one.
Yes.
However, why would I give my competition space?
Oh, cooperation is better than some competition. You will now compete with other people from outside, not you people that are managing your life.
Okay.
In a cluster.
So what would I take from this person who is coming to me?
No, you have a machine, you can afford it.
Okay.
You bought a machine like, okay, let me give you an example. Overlocking machine.
Right.
Everybody doesn't need to have overlocking machine.
Okay.
If you go to Use, you see that some people, they just take their clothes there. Everybody, one person has overlocking machine. So they pay him small money. He does press button. So they pay him. You don't need to buy that machine. Just buy your normal sewing machine and the other people do that. Everybody does not need to buy, have enough capital to buy tailoring accessories.
Right.
So there are people who just invest their capital in that. All of them are in the same cluster.
Okay.
You get it now?
Okay.
Then there are people selling textiles. If you've gone to Gariki Market, it's a cluster, but not a structured and organized cluster. They just evolved.
Okay. What would in your words be a more structured
when it is more structured, you deliberately and strategically put them together it is the local government or investors that built the market, where people now cluster around in different departments, in different subsectors. Do you understand me?
I understand you now.
So faith-based organizations having land and capital can actually have their people, like we said previously in these presentations we make here, that bakery people can be clustered together first as an association. They don't also have to go and be renting different houses. It's expensive. If there is a bakery cluster where they share facilities, they might have 2 generators.
Okay.
That the facility managers, they supply power and you pay. Those people can use CNG, compressed natural gas, that comes in tanks, like the people who sell gas, the LPG people.
Exactly.
They bring gas, they fill up or they drop one tank, carry the other.
The decanting plant.
Yes. So you now come and retail and fill
your mini gas.
You get it now. So if a kind of people say, okay, like people build FAB, they build all these plazas, is commercial completely. Then everybody now buys their own generator. So when you go there now, there are more than 1,000 generators.
When they can all come together, buy one.
That is, it has to be structured by an organization that have interests of their people. That's why I said non-governmental organization, faith-based, organized.
Right. Okay, Apostle William Iheanacho, we'll go for a short break. This is still the Buy Niger Hour here on Joy Asony Live. We'll be right back after this. Stay with us. Nigerians are kicking as the president has announced, since the president announced the removal of fuel subsidy. Now, worst still is the micro, small and medium enterprises. How can they survive is what we've been discussing here on Buy Niger on Joy Asony. And Apostle Williams Iheanacho Oatbil has been doing justice to all of that. But we're moving the conversation now. He had mentioned during the course of the program shared facility clusters. How can government, faith-based organizations, like he likes to always mention, and the NGOs ensure this happens? That's where we've taken the conversation to. Apostle?
Oh, Joy. The shared facility industrial or commercial clusters is the solution. Let's even start from the baseline. People now have to learn to share rides.
Right.
Transport.
How would you be a big boy if you don't drive into your office?
Well, big boyism is coming to an end. Competition must give way to cooperatives and cooperation.
Right.
If people buy bulk, which has started even in Abuja, people buy cow and share. People buy rice, beans, foodstuffs and share. You get it now? So you will need to see more of that. Why should 10 women living in the same neighborhood spend money on transport and fuel to go to market? If they had organizations where they converge, estate association, church association, mosque association, if all the women in the mosque at their different levels, they share their food products that they buy bulk, price will drop. Transportation costs will not affect individuals, families who are running independent. That's what I'm saying. And if everybody in a particular plaza they agree to run a government, a proper government of their plaza. So but let's do away with all this every man to himself and generator. Let us have the association power generation
plan,
yes, and let us work out a pricing policy.
But how would that help the generator sellers who want to sell to as many
no.
as possible?
Our business, let them be more innovative.
Okay.
No, 2 or 3 or 4 heavy generators that depend on gas. We power many clusters. We power many estates. Do you get it now?
Okay.
A 1 mega.
I'm not just talking about the generator right now. I'm just hypothetically speaking.
I just went back to it.
Yes, but how would this shared facility, industrial or commercial help entrepreneurs? Because if you are providing a value chain that I would have gotten from, say, Love, who sells a certain product, and now I don't have to go buy that product, I will have to join a cluster where I can get, they can provide.
Your operational cost is reduced.
Okay.
You are not going to buy any fuel. The fuel is bought bulk, and you are charged pay as you use. So somebody running a very big machine, he pays big money according to his a kilowatts per hour usage. Then there is one little man who is just, he has 2 machines in the cluster that doesn't use much power.
It won't be fair to charge him the same.
The same. Then you now discover that you look at a street or a plaza, they have enough power to power times 5. That is that is. Somebody took me out one day in somewhere in the VI and said, look at my street. He said everybody on that street in Ikoyi has enough power, to power the whole street. But here they are. Everybody has 500 kilowatt generator. The other number has 500. Meanwhile, that 500 can power the whole street.
Wow.
It's a waste. So when you have shared facilities,
okay,
all of them don't need to buy the same equipment. Then issue of power. So as fuel goes up, when you fill the tank of a particular one or they are using gas, at the end of the day, you will be paying less than 20% of what you would have been paying if you are running an oil machine alone. You will foot your maintenance cost.
Exactly.
You will foot the fuel cost. You will have to endure the stress of the mechanic. Everything along that line. And maybe in that whole cluster, they might have up to 200 generators. I've seen plenty madness in a lot of commercial clusters.
Exactly.
Kutaba. It's madness. So if they can put them together, power is supplied. Whether it's coming from the electricity company or they are the backup, everything is priced. So me I have only 5 machines. You know my power consumption. I'm able to pay for it.
Exactly.
And I don't need to buy a 10 kVA generator, which many of them have, because they need power of up to 8 kVA. You get it now. But if there is central control and supply, shared facility, you don't need to look for your own water. There is a
central
water, and there's backup. And some people are accountable for that, and they are earning their own money from that.
Okay. How about micro entrepreneurs or small entrepreneurs who would tell you that at our pace we pay for this? If I cannot afford water at the moment, I just leave it be. But now that you're adding me to a cluster, I would be forced to pay whether I want it or not.
No, you see, in such shared facility clusters, you have good metering, good measures.
Metering. That's yet another thing you're introducing. Your government have not been able to achieve good metering in any sector.
Once you have clusters, there is government. You can meter the water somebody uses.
Okay.
Your industry needs water. Therefore, you have come to that cluster because you have common and shared facilities that is necessary for your industry. Okay, we are rice millers. Other people who are milling whatever that they need water, they need power.
Right.
You can gather that is the cluster, or else you don't belong to the cluster.
Okay, Oatbil, I mean, it's time for agenda setting. Several sectors several sectors, or all sectors actually, are setting agendas for the new administration. The subsidy removal, the subsidy regime seem to have is gone for good with the body language of the president and the reiteration by the NNPCL. However, if you have to have a staircase presentation with President Bola Tinubu as to how the I need to add the micro, small and medium enterprises can survive this period, and the kind of palliative or cushioning effect he should put in place, what would it be?
Number one, our mass transit system.
Right.
Both road and rail must be effectively overhauled in all the major urban and production centers. Like the kind of infrastructure we need massively and speedily for some areas that are very good for, like footwear and leather products. From our Buy Naija studies, we discovered that we can actually build 3 key centers, one in Kano, one in Songo, one in Aba. In 2019, the tanned leather exported from Kano was $250 million. Imported
back to Nigeria.
Footwear products that came into Nigeria was $500 million.
So it's obvious we do love good things. We love the leather.
Good. It's a big industry.
So why are we not patronizing
we are not organized. Like the mass transit system, there should be a link from Apst straight to Kano. You know why? All the leather produced in the north that coalesces into Kano goes to Italy and Spain.
All of it.
Then the Aba people have to import leather from outside Nigeria.
Okay, so wait, if that network works, yes. If like you just mentioned, there'll be the market for it. The Kano people will understand that there's
connectivity.
Right.
The report is there. The report is there. Then in some area that gathers Ibadan, Lagos, they eat the whole leather as pomo, most of it. But if there is a demand that shifts away the pomo,
it's not funny that that's a revered meal.
No, we can't. See, if you are doing leather and footwear, it goes with animal husbandry.
Of course.
It's not a trekking nama that will give you that thing. When it's now structured, when you bring out the meat, they sell the meat, and there are off-takers for the leather, as they do in Kano. You buy off the leather. when they know that they will get more returns.
But I'm concerned, what will happen to the pomo business?
They will start selling meat.
Pomo will be out of it completely?
Pomo will now become more expensive. You have to compete with shoe. Market forces will take care of it.
Apostle, I honestly don't know about that.
I don't eat pomo.
Probably that's why you're...
You know why I said so? It's a deliberate policy. Every time you eat pomo, you are eating your shoe.
Maybe that is why.
No,
maybe that's why you're saying that. Is there a balance we can get?
What I'm saying is that infrastructure, connectivity, placing value on these things as economic models. So if there's connectivity between Songo and Aba and Kano, the value chain will be so rich. So we'll have Aba produces over 1 million shoes every week that they send to Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Sudan, all over the place.
Is that because Nigeria does not have the market for it? I mean, we are on the other hand buying the second-hand shoes from...
That is another problem.
Right.
We should abolish gradually second-hand products.
Right.
You don't need to buy second-hand shoes. There are new shoes. The one I'm wearing is made in Aba. It's top quality and it's not expensive.
Is it as durable as the Okrika?
More than durable. Which kind of Okrika shoe?
I'm just saying.
They are no. The leather with which they did the Okrika shoe came from Kano.
In the first place.
In the first instance. Louis Vuitton, all the big brands abroad, they buy their leather from Nigeria and Morocco. If we develop our tannery business here, we will make good shoes. About people are making very solid good shoes. You cannot the shoes and the bags. They are top quality, top
and why don't we have our own Louis Vuitton here? Why are we not having
because
businessmen?
That is what I'm saying. If we cluster and people, you build your own brand.
Apostle, I'd like to return you back to our own mindset to these things. I mean, I would see a good shoe that I know is a fake Louis Vuitton. It's a good shoe, but they are some of the Nigerian, I don't want to mention a place now. The Nigerian manufacturer cloned it because he believes if he gives it the international brand, people will rush it.
That's what
we could work on our brand proudly Nigerian. Like the mantra of the Buy Niger.
I don't have to even mention the name of the manufacturer. He has a plant in Abuja. He has a plant in Aba. He has a plant in Abreba. He said, let him take his plant to his own village.
Right.
This shoe, I've been wearing this shoe now for 3, 4, 5 years. And I don't buy them plenty. When I use them up, I just give it to somebody and take a new set. Now, the problem with Nigerians is that they love foreign brands. Because that is what the leadership brings down. When your leader is not wearing a made in Nigeria shoe, and they produce very good shoes in Kano, they produce good shoes in Aba. And look at you now. Many people, to the shame of many elites, their religious leaders pride themselves in the foreign brands they wear. I have a problem in my house. One of my daughter's religious leader, he's a brand ambassador. I don't want to mention the brands.
For an international brand.
Yes.
And so I can imagine having a Buy Niger father.
Yes.
Hearing that.
That is the problem, that what they are producing. So I have crisis in my own house. I'm saying on TV.
However, have you approached this particular religious leader to,
they are not one, they are not two, they are not three.
No, I'm just saying this one that is close to home and causing this rift in the home.
They know.
They
know when they listen to me on TV. And the person I'm talking to now, I'm going to send
this particular
to many of them.
Right.
They'll see it. And they say, Daddy, that's your problem. That is, you're always criticizing everybody. I'm not criticizing. Why would you be promoting foreign brands? Somebody, the wife of a heavy religious leader, told me I should go away with this my Buy Naija thing. She orders a school uniform of the school children from abroad.
School children in Nigeria, children who are schooling
in Warri,
right.
In her school. She orders the uniform from abroad.
By the end of this show, you will narrow it down to the street in Warri. But
I will not do that.
Let's not go there.
No, but they will receive this
right.
YouTube. They will see it. They say, this man is talking about me.
Exactly. Change. Right. We're still talking about that case presentation.
Sure.
With, right. You have really mentioned a lot. Is there more you would like to add for the president? If you have,
we need, first of all, encourage shared facility infrastructure.
If the government is to champion this, what would be what would the steps?
It will not be efficient for government to champion it.
Right.
But the government can provide the enablers,
such as Buy Naija.
Yeah, incentives. We will give them the template that will be effective, efficient, sustainable, measurable in its impact. Number one, it will create jobs. Number two, it will reduce the cost of infrastructure per participant. Individuals cannot provide some level of infrastructure. If there is a train line that runs from somewhere in the Lagos-Ibadan Express Road that takes you straight to another population point, it will ease the movement of the entrepreneurs. That's government that will do that. And they can encourage private sector people. You can lay the line of the train. Have a system that produces the coaches. Then let individuals buy coaches and run their transport company.
Open up the market.
Open up the market. So you do not just, you can open up the market and people come, they will buy up coaches. Then there's a company that owns the rail, the line itself and the management of the train.
Wouldn't you rather the government owns the rail, for instance? Because frankly,
at the end of the day,
that company will get angry.
No, they won't get angry. If you say government should do it, the man you make as the head of the company, he just packs the whole money and they tell you the company has gone bankrupt, they want to privatize. So why don't you privatize it from the very beginning and people earn their income from it from day one? That's your business you are running. You just lay the infrastructure, then give it to somebody who will run it and make his profit. And government is hands off it. Just run it properly. And there are so many things, you don't just take our infrastructure, hand over to somebody, at the end of the day they're exploiting the people. So what I'm saying is the transport system must connect economic nodes. Then when you now have shared facility industrial clusters that government decides to build, especially the state government, you get it now, then they will liaise with the federal government for connectivity. We are producing leather here. We have animal husbandry. We produce goat, sheep here, cow. We produce milk, and we empower other people with the correct breed, and we buy off the meat and the leather. Then we tan. Then the people, the man in Abia State, He will make a provision for those who are doing shoe to make sure that they have enough supply of leather. Then we export the rest to all the foreign brands. So by the time the price of our shoe is affordable, the quality is top flight.
Right.
Government is patronizing. The senators are patronizing. All the legislators are patronizing, and they are proud of it. You get it? And all the faith-based organization heads, they are patronizing, because their people are now more organized, or there will be riot in the church or in the mosque. Hey, if your head pastor does not patronize you, the association people will hold meeting. They will call meeting of elders. How come, madam, all the women of the top men are not patronizing our people? Do you get it now? How can somebody be going to England to buy their domestic supply every month?
There's such a thing going on.
Is
domestic supply.
Domestic supply. They don't eat local rice. They don't. As a school being run by the wife of a spiritual leader imports uniform for the children till tomorrow. I even actually said things that are unprintable to me. I should go with my Buy Naija project.
Okay, so the entrepreneurs, the small and medium, small and medium enterprises in Nigeria are the bloodline, you know, in Nigeria. However, how? I mean, for those who are watching you right now and saying, with the report we read before the removal of subsidy, that about 65% of Nigerian entrepreneurs' businesses fold up in a year. Are you saying we would see more resilient in businesses now, or it will get worse?
Definitely. Many businesses will fold up. Then there could be a rebound if we do the right thing. And it's everybody's responsibility.
Okay.
I am not a supporter of, I have a friend, he's a traditional ruler. He said, government. I got to stage, I say, my brother,
leave government.
Leave government first. You that is a traditional ruler, what is your role? You are still depending on government. What are we saying here? Government, federal, state, local government, faith-based organizations, very critical. Because these are people, they have meeting with their people at least once a week. How many times does government interact with the people? Except matter of pay tax, bring this, bring that, cutting tape. But these people see people every day. Exactly. And once they are organized for the micro, small and medium enterprise, my word to them, which we have started the work, get organized. Group yourself. Let us see, even if you are in an organization, anywhere you are, organize yourself.
Okay.
If you are a bakery, organize yourself. The garment maker, organize yourself.
They often have unions and associations.
They have to ramp up how they are organized.
Right.
To reduce cost of production. To be a pressure group. Because we can't force government to ban some products. If you don't support us as a pressure group, many companies are going to fold up in these few days. They will. If you know the number of companies that folded up between the last less than 10 years, it's scandalous.
Wow.
If you get the figure from Manufacturers Association.
But government can get it right.
The government can only do part.
The faith-based organizations and the NGOs.
Yes.
Well, having said that, thank you, Apostle Williams, Iheanacho, Oatbil. I knew we had to end it with the faith-based organizations and the NGOs. Thank you so much, Chairman Buy Niger Project, for doing justice to what we are discussing today, MSMEs and how they will survive now that fuel subsidy has been removed. We'll be back next week, especially with the Buy Niger Hour here on Joy Asony Live. But this is where we'll draw the curtains on today's program. Do have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We'll be back next week.